Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, my name is Kirsten and I'm a working mum of one. Today's video is part 2 of a returning to work collaboration that I've done with a few returning to work mothers out there. This video is in collaboration with Sydney Mel, Cara from Cara Collecting Memories, and Jess from Utterly in Love. If you're down in the description box looking for the other ladies' channels, also are the links to all of our videos for the first part of this collaboration. So the first part of this collaboration was we answered some general questions about returning to work, as we have all gone back to work after being on maternity leave. This part of the collaboration is some tips to help you return to work and just to ease you into returning to work. So I've gone back to work part-time and I'm a mum of one. So here are my tips for you. Number 1, be prepared. So as a parent, I think the whole be prepared, be organized thing is like, you need to do that to be a good parent. But I definitely think it helps when it comes to returning to work, especially in the first sort of few weeks. I think after a few weeks, you're in the rhythm, you're in the routine. And we carry on about routine with kids, and it's exactly the same with us adults. It makes life so much easier. So some of the things that I like to do to prepare for work and things like that are, I like to pack all of Maddison's daycare stuff. So I pack her daycare bag, I lay out her clothes for the following morning because I'm not the one who gets her ready for like daycare drop off. My husband does that. I make sure her fruit is packed. I even put her water cup in her bag. Like, I literally leave nothing to my husband. He literally has to dress her, feed her, and put her in the car with the daycare bag. And he has forgotten it only the once, but I pretty much leave him no responsibility in regards to packing it, making sure the stuff in there. It's about being prepared. In regards to myself, I like to make sure that I have ironed and laid out all the clothes that I am wearing the following morning, because I am a really early starter. Like, I'm up for work at 4 AM. I can't be hunting around in the dark for that. And as it gets later in the year and winter is coming, no Game of Thrones reference, but it is coming, and obviously the mornings are going to get darker and colder. So I like to iron and lay out all my clothes in the bathroom in the morning. I even have like my earrings in there. My earrings usually come off and go on my bedside table, but the days that I work, they go on the bathroom like countertop, because I can't be going like this in the middle of the night, which is literally what 4 AM is, and I can't talk. Oh my god. So yes, I do that. I also make sure that all of my like bag is done, you know, that I have my access card, or I have whatever I need, that keys are nearby, I'm not having to look for the keys, anything like that. Be prepared. In the be prepared section, one that I can recommend is also, I don't know, it depends on how old your kids are when you're returning to work, but my daughter doesn't eat at the same time that my husband and I eat, and that's mainly because of our work schedule. My husband usually doesn't get home till 6:45 at night, and she goes to bed at 7:30, so she can at least spend some time with him, but we don't eat together yet. So she normally eats a lot earlier, and I found having her dinner prepared, like, we're not a batch cook family because my husband's quite the fussy eater. If you would like to watch a video on that, please let me know. He is probably worse than most children, and he's over 30. But I found that having some dinners prepared for her, I actually ended up preparing some lunches for myself, and the leftover like smaller portions were for her. So I had those in the fridge just so I can zap those, because I get home and I'm spending time with her, and that I don't want to have to go, I've got to stop, cook her dinner, make sure it's not too hot, then feed her, then clean her, and it goes on and on and on. So being prepared, all those kinds of things. Number 2 is if you are transitioning your child into any form of care, whether it's a family member, family daycare, or sort of the standard daycare structure, it is a good idea for both of you to start the transition before you go back to work. This was one of the best things that I did. So Maddison turned 1 in, I'm going to say early February. She was 1 on the 10th of Feb, and we started the transition about a week after she turned 1. I think she was in daycare for 3 weeks. So the first week we did orientation visits, and we did 3 orientation visits in the first week. Orientation visits for my daycare were essentially where you could go and look at the room, talk to the carers and things like that, and then actually leave the room, leave your child in the room and leave the room. You can watch from the outside through these little like sneaky peepholes. Your kids can't see you, and we worked on that. Obviously the first time I left Maddison, she cried for 20 minutes, but in that time the carer was trying to comfort her, and I was able to watch how they deal with it in that situation. And then we left, and then we came back, and we played for a bit. On another day we played for a bit, tried again. We lasted I think 40 minutes, and you know, they're able to calm her down and things like that. So it gets better and better. Then obviously we did like the short stay visits, and then we just built up, and then it made it better for when I returned to work. Especially the first couple of times, if you can do it when you haven't returned to work, it gives you the flexibility to do short stay visits. So the first day, I think the first day I only left her there for 4 hours. And you know, I came home, I ate, I cleaned, and if you have a 1-year-old or small children, you know that cleaning with no children is amazing. But it eased Maddison into it, and by the time she was going to like full-time, I say full-time, but like the length of day that she would be when I'm back at work, and she was able to do that. I think she did that for 3 or 4 visits, because she only goes twice a week. I think she did it for 3 visits or 4 visits before I actually went back to work. So when I went back to work, I wasn't anxious, I wasn't nervous about how she was doing. I didn't, to be honest, sounds awful, didn't really think about it, because I knew that she was okay with it. I knew that she'd be fine and be looked after, and for a moment or a day at least, I focused on myself. Like, I'm returning to work, this is a big deal for me. And yes, I did have not emotional upheaval, that sounds really dramatic. I was totally fine, no tears or anything returning to work. The only time I had like a twinge of emotion, makes me sound really like cold-hearted, was when I was on my own, when I drove past the hospital that I delivered Maddison in on the way to work on my very first day of work. And it was sort of reminding me of the last time I drove like down this route was like when I was at work, and that was when I was pregnant. And then the last time, you know, sort of down here, I was going to the hospital to, you know, bring my baby into the world, and that kind of like clucky feeling and that like nostalgic feeling, I think. But it prepared me immensely that I wasn't carrying that like emotional baggage of worrying about my child being in daycare, because they were already well settled in, and it allowed me to be able to focus on me and focus on what I'm doing, which I know as a mum can be really difficult to, I guess, put ourselves first, or, you know, be focusing on, you know, one thing and not a million other things. Tip number 3 is to allow yourself some time to have some me time. I've talked about a lot of this kind of thing, like self-care and self-love, on my channel before, but it is really, really important. I was really worried returning to work, because I was like adding something else to my agenda or schedule that like I just wasn't gonna have time. But I really make an effort to just give myself some time just to do something for me. It's not always a really big thing. Sometimes it can just be like a cheeky face mask, or even just sitting outside with a coffee. But I really am trying to allow myself some alone time And obviously I'm really lucky because I drive to work, so I do have that like solo time in the car, and I really do enjoy it at like 5 o'clock in the morning when I'm driving, you know, whether it's to listen to a really early morning radio show or listening to an audiobook. Like, it's just something for me, and I'm alone, and it sounds really selfish, but I think it makes you a better person. It allows you to just relax and just take everything in, and just, yeah, works wonders. Allows you to be the best form of yourself. And the last tip that I have for you is to just cut yourself some slack. Like, going back to work is a massive adjustment, and you know, it's not always easy, and you know, it can be stressful, and it's definitely tiring. I definitely found my first 2 weeks I was just absolutely knackered, and then as a mum you can't just stop. You've got to keep going on, and you've got to do the mum thing, and you can't just stop. You've got to cook dinner, or you've got to clean the house, or you've got to do those things. But it's worth it. Like, it's worth being able to be an adult again. It's worth, you know, bringing home an income, and as long as it's not overtaking your life, you're still getting to spend time with your kids. And yeah, you just need to realize that it does take some adjustment. I found 6 weeks in, I'm in a routine now, I know what's going on, and yeah, it's pretty normal now. Like, I don't think about what it was like or what I used to do. I just keep calm and carry on, and once I finish my in the office job, I start my at home job, which is, you know, looking after my 1-year-old and, you know, running this household. So yeah, just remember to cut yourself some slack, and you know, everything takes time. So that's all my tips for, you know, mums returning to work after maternity leave. I hope you really enjoyed them and you will find them useful. If you have any tips for me that I can still use, because I am still fresh off the boat returning to work, leave them down below in the comments. Make sure you go and check out my lovely mum friends and their tips. I'm sure they have some excellent tips, especially Cara and Mel. They're returning to work after multiple children, so that's always interesting. I'm looking forward to watching their tips videos, because eventually one day hopefully I will add to my family, and I'm gonna need some tips to return to work with multiple children. But that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, everything's down in the description box, so go and check it out. And yeah, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you're new around here, I would love to have you join our family, so make sure you are subscribed. And stay tuned for some holiday vlogs, and because we are currently on holiday, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.
About to leave, already packing, come with me, I'm not really asking, we'll get away to a place where we don't know.